Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at mrdirk.com.
Struddy, I think you're the man here right from the get-go. Let her rip.
Welcome, everybody, into the big show. How are we feeling tonight? A little down, I'm guessing. Wow, what an ending to a okay game, I suppose, for the Oilers. Oilers fans, we're here to talk you through it. What went wrong? What can get better? We'll take it through with our friends and our title sponsor, Play Alberta, brought to you by Play Alberta, the official gambling partner of all the major Alberta teams. Whoever you cheer for, Play Alberta is cheering for you, and they're cheering you on. Bet on your favorites, get in on odds boosts, and make time more interesting. Deposit today and get a $50 free bet. Code GYB05. Visit playalberta.ca. Whoa, that was a hard one. Luckily, I'm sitting here in my home office, brought to you by Adrenaline Diesel, Edmonton's premier heavy-duty diesel truck repair shop, specializing in powertrain tuning, performance, and part sales. Visit adrenalinediesel.ca. Got our normal cast of characters here today. We got Zuby, we got Ryan Rishaug, we got Rob Brown. Of course, I'm loaded up on lavender tea, boys. Doesn't taste the same tonight, though. Tough one. 4-3 loss. Now I'm going to take some heat over here. I'm always ready, like the Boy Scouts, but these two guys, all of a sudden they're on time for once, and they're acting like they reinvented the wheel.
Well, no, look, I got multiple problems happening tonight. So multiple issues. So Strud's the one that was at home all night, right? Brownie and I just been grinding all day on this game, working so hard. Strud's home all night. All he has to do is show up on time. Last one into the chat, keeps us all waiting. And then Zuby, I don't know. Do you want to just come clean on what just happened, Zuby?
I guess I never removed you from the green room. That's a rookie mistake. So once the show actually started, but I thought Struddy was going. I thought Struddy was leading it right from the beginning.
No. So we do all this figuring out ahead of time. Okay, I'm driving, so I got the intro. Struds, you got the ad reads. So the music is going, and I start talking, and I'm muted. So then Zuby's last second, like, Struds, go. So I am impressed, Struds. You redeemed yourself because on very short notice, you hopped in, and that was actually not a terrible intro. So you redeemed yourself.
Yeah, because you told me your ad reads, and then you didn't start talking. I'm like, well, Zuby says I'm off him to make this happen.
Yep, that's on me.
All right. Brown, you've been perfect so far tonight, buddy.
Thank you very much. I just thought, we waited forever for Struddy. As I said before we went on air, he was like the Oilers defense on the last goal. La-di-la-di-da. He's just taking his time while we're doing all the work. La-di-da.
La-di-da. Well, I imagine Oiler fans are in no mood for any sort of jovial teasing between us gentlefolk. So let's not torture them any longer. Let's just get right to it, Struds. Dive into our breakdown brought to you by the Alberta Ram Dealers.
Ram trucks continue to deliver with power, style, and innovation. The 2025 Ram 1500 features a bold new powertrain, a redesigned exterior, and state-of-the-art technology. Check out the most awarded light-duty truck ever. See a Ram dealer today.
Okay, the only place to start is right at the very end. Brownie, I will start with you, my friend. Breakdown where the breakdowns were and what the heck happened outside of Leon Draisaitl tapping it in.
Well, I'm going to go with the other side of it to start with and talk about the great play by William Karlsson. William Karlsson picks the puck up around the ringette line, top of the circles in his own zone, starts skating up ice. He looks up at the clock, and then he looks to see who's with him. Every Vegas Golden Knight changed. Every player. Most players in that situation would get to center, dump the puck in, let's go to overtime. Karlsson doesn't. He outskates Leon, He outskates McDavid. He outskates Nurse, puts the puck in the corner, and then beats Kulak to the puck. And then knowing there's no time left, because most players, good players, will count down in their head. They look at the clock. I got 12 seconds. They do a mental countdown. He's now throwing the puck. It's a hope play. But he's throwing the puck at the feet of Skinner, hoping something good happens. And then a wonderful play by Riley Smith, who, again, knows how much time he has left, fakes the shot, puts both Nurse and McDavid out of the play, and he gets Skinner to bite, and then he walks around, and now a little luck has to come into play because that puck is probably going through the crease, but it hits Draisaitl's stick and goes in. But to me, Strudge, you can break down the bad part of where the Oilers got beat. I am giving credit to two players on the Vegas Golden Knights. William Karlsson on a 1-on-4 didn't just let the play die. He beat four guys to set up a play, and Riley Smith, who had a fantastic hockey game with great finish. Those two guys gave life to a Vegas Golden Knights team that when the Oilers tied it up, it looked like, ooh, this could be the end of the series for the night. William Karlsson took it upon himself, and Riley Smith makes the Oilers pay for poor defensive coverage.
Yeah, you know what, Brownie, great breakdown, and I'm not surprised you took that part of it. Forwards don't like to do the dirty work, right? They don't want to be honest. And you're going to talk about the easy part, about the nice place of Vegas, play of Vegas. I'm going to talk about the other, where you have four Oiler veteran players at the goal line or lower looking at a guy behind the net. Four. Connor, Leon, Darnell, all those three, and then I think it was Kulak behind the net.
Kulak, it was Kulak.
All four are looking down at the guy behind the net. Not one is taking a look behind. He's good. Karlsson's good. You don't need four players covering that one player. One of them has to drop off and just go stand in the hash marks. Just go stand there. Go stand in the middle. The puck's going to funnel there. And they over back check. And in that moment, the team kind of showed, I felt it. They looked a little bit rattled. Even though they'd scored, it would look like the group was kind of unsettled and not composed. Those are four guys you're counting on to be composed. Kulak, Nurse, Leon, Connor. I'm not sure how much more you can get. They need to be composed and just come and stand right at the hash marks. They've heard that since they were 10 years old. You don't need to have four people doing the same job. So that to me is where it gets, it just goes off the track. And you're right. It was a hope pass from Karlsson from behind the net. He's not going to score from back there. You could put four Oilers in front of the net and just in that area between the hash mark and front of the net, nothing would happen. Instead, they over back check. They don't look behind them. And they go in there. So I think that and you could go through every goal and see something similar like that, guys. And so I'm looking at this as this will be a hard reset for the team defensively on their back check. I'm sure it'll be some hard video tomorrow for the group.
That's why I love having the two of you on this show, because two completely different viewpoints on a set of plays from a couple of really valuable perspectives. That was a great breakdown, but let's hear from the guys. The principles involved, Struds, in our Weiss Johnson sound box.
Yeah, the Weiss Johnson sound box is proud to host their annual golf tournament in support of the Edmonton Down Syndrome Society on June 3rd at the Ranch Golf and Country Club. And they'd love to see you there. All proceeds directly support the Society's efforts to meet the evolving needs of the Down syndrome community. To purchase your tickets, email info@weissjohnson.com. Hit it.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Not very long with the jingle tonight, Zuby. In fact, you can cut it. Cut the jingle. We're going super short jingle tonight. Okay, let's hear from first Stuart Skinner on the goal, and then Leon Draisaitl after. Can you do that, Zoobs?
You bet.
Karlsson, I mean, he just threw it out there, which you knew he was going to do. And then I thought he was going to shoot it right away. I thought he didn't have that much time. So I kind of just sprawled, went out there. I stayed with him for another half second, and then catches us with 0.4 seconds left. Devastating. But again, things happen. Good bounces, tough bounces. Happens for everybody. So just move forward.
And here's Mr. Draisaitl.
Obviously, we didn't sort it out very well to let the puck get into the slot, but
I think after that, it's just unlucky. It's unfortunate. Obviously, it goes off my stick. I'm just trying to, keep it out of the net, obviously, and it's just a bad bounce.
You had a couple goals against it, quick hitter, like 55 seconds or something earlier on in the game. There are just a couple of letdowns tonight that were pretty costly. Yeah,
obviously the first one, I get stripped there. That puck should probably just go in, so that's obviously on me. But I think just the quickness of the two of them deflated us a little bit. So obviously something to look at.
Okay, so we're going to get to everything else that went wrong in the game and big picture and team game and adjustments and all that stuff, guys. But I want to talk specifically about Leon Draisaitl. And I want to get your guys' rounded thoughts on the way things went for him tonight. I'll give you mine quickly. Leon Draisaitl's given this team a ton of fantastic, fabulous playoff games. Everybody knows that. This was not one of them. So on the one goal, he gets stripped. It ends up in the back of the net eventually on a puck that needs to go deep. He knows that. Gets caught out there defensively, and he's exhausted on another shift. And I know he was tired, but man, the circles in his own end and big circles and just kind of all over the place. Then a bad change, and he's on the far side of the ice. Puck ends up in the back of the net. It's not just about what happened at the very end. Leon Draisaitl was not moving the way he normally does, and it was not a great night for 29. What did you guys see?
Brownie.
It was off all night, and I mean a great example of it is late in the game, Connor sets him up for his big one-timer. That Leon rarely misses the net, and they had Hill beat on that one. Hill did not get across quick enough, and Leon missed the net. Now, it's a hard shot, and most players don't make it, but Leon does usually. And I think to me that just typified his night. He was just a little off. The one where he got stripped at center, the Oilers are in complete control at that point. And that's a big mistake that allowed Vegas to have belief. He just didn't look like Leon tonight. And his bar is high, and we talk about Bouchard, and we talk about Connor. Their bar is very, very high. It's not easy to hit each night, but usually Leon does. And I think, even though he scored the game-winning goal in Game 2, I thought the Vegas Golden Knights' best players were better than the Oilers' best players. I thought Eichel had a fantastic game. He was the best player on the ice. So I think this is 2 games in a row where Leon hasn't been the beast that we normally see in playoff time, and tonight it cost the Oilers.
Yeah, I like the way you phrase that, because this is now 2 games where I think he hasn't been at his best. Tonight, I didn't like the way he was not skating. Like I think he's the most effective when he's moving his feet, because he's big and he can skate and he can make plays. Even on the change, the shorthand, or not the shorthanded, but the second period goal. Karlsson's second period goal. It's a long change, but he takes his time. Now there's others guilty as well. 3 Oilers players change. That puck barely got over the red line. I mean, you can't change. You just can't. Or maybe one guy can change, but to have 3 guys change, and Vegas rightfully turns and attacks right back. Like, they're very aware, and they're waiting for the Oilers to make mistakes. And so you go to that first goal. You talk about the strip. We got the change. We've got even on the bad change. Janmark just kind of. I recognize he may be tired, but he just lets Karlsson just skate by him. Right, put a body, stick him to the wall. Right, anything to slow him down. The Riley Smith goal. Both Podkolzin and Arvidsson, I think they didn't get a body on him. They're just stick checking. So the Oilers, and even the first goal, you could make the case that Bouchard was checking nobody. Then he just reaches with his stick, and who was that? That was Roy. Don't call me Roy. Had multiple chances to knock that in, right? So the stick checking was tough. But to get back to your Leon story, I just look at him that there's a better version of him in there, and I think it's when he's skating.
Yeah, and Strud, you pointed out something. It was an important point. You said a long time ago on this show, I think it might have been in season 1. I recall you saying it, I asked you about Leon Draisaitl meandering to the bench on changes, and you said someday this is going to cost them. And I've kind of been watching for it, and I don't know that it's happened. I know he was exhausted, right? I completely acknowledge that he was exhausted, but how many times have we seen Leon Draisaitl that exhausted and get a headman pass and find it within himself to make one last offensive rush? He needs to hustle to the bench as a habit. It's been years of meandering to the bench, and I think it needs to stop, especially at playoff time.
Yeah, and not every. I mean, yeah. Go ahead, Brownie. Go ahead.
Who, me? No, well, it's funny. Jack Eichel was doing it tonight too. There's a power play that Jack Eichel probably wasted 15 seconds leaving the ice. So it's not just Leon. You watch all players that sometimes you just notice it. On that one though, it was a terrible change. You can't change that. It's simple. Meander or not, you cannot change unless the puck gets in deep. A dead tired Leon Draisaitl standing in the middle of the slot is better than nobody, and that's what the Oilers had when those players changed.
Yeah, and I agree. So just like not every change is the same, but that one is a critical change at a critical moment of the game, and there was a failure to recognize that by not just Leon. There was others that changed. We have to make clear this isn't all on Leon. That play.
For sure.
But there's 3 guys that decided to change and then left 2 guys in behind who are also tired. But like Brownie says, if you're bagged, one guy, probably the right winger, I'm guessing would be the closest one to change. Everyone else, you just form up the LA Kings special at the blue line, try to slow him down, make him dump it in, then hope that the right winger comes back and he maybe takes the center position so that now the center can play the right wing and you have a pair of fresh legs in there. But these are all things that this isn't new. These are things you talk about over the course of the year. Hey, if this happened, this is what we'd like to do. So it was to me, it was a gift type goal on a situation that didn't really have to. And there was multiple goals like that tonight for Vegas. They were counterpunching fantastically.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't we get to the goaltending discussion? And then we'll save for our next segment, guys. We'll save the bigger picture, sort of how the Oilers looked overall, adjustments and all that kind of stuff for takeaways. But let's get to the goaltending. I was just asked the question on SportsCenter. What are you doing next game in net if Calvin Pickard is healthy? To me, it's a complete no-brainer. You're going back to the guy who's 6-0 if Pickard is healthy and ready to go. But, Struds, how would you summarize? Do you agree with me, first of all? But how would you summarize Skinner's night?
I agree with you. I'd go back with Pickard. I didn't like the first goal. I thought he fell down. Now I've made cases of other things that happened around him. This happened, but that's a goal I think he can stop. And just because the way he was sitting on his backside when the puck went in. After that, I think he settled in. He made a couple, nice saves. Carlson's first goal, or I guess not his first goal, his only goal, a bit of a leaker, but probably should never happen. But it'd be nice to come up with it. But he had other good saves. I say he was okay, Brownie.
I agree. And we've been clamoring that we need a big save from Skinner. And he made one on Roy Raw late on the 2-on-1 with him and Pearson. So he made a nice save on that one. Now, I don't know if Roy Raw put it into his glove or if Skinner made it, but that was a big moment save. It gave the Oilers a chance to come back. But I agree with Schauger and you. If Pickard's healthy, the guy that's 6-0 is going to play ahead of the guy that's 0-3. But if Pickard's not healthy, then you go back with Skinner, and you feel comfortable enough that he did show signs in this hockey game that he can give them the quality start that they need.
Zuby, as our resident Div 12 goaltending guru, give me your thoughts on Skinner's night. Give me your thought on Skinner's night, but also, Zuby, some interesting debate happening on the stream as well about his level of culpability on the game-winning goal. So maybe how you can weigh in on that as well.
Yeah, I think you guys nailed it. Is it a great night? No. Is it's good or okay? It's probably more like okay. Yeah, I didn't love the first goal. I did. The third goal is that's a tired team and a bang play. But when it squeezes under your glove like that, you hate it. You're in position and he didn't find a way to squeeze it. So I'm sure he doesn't like that one. And the fourth goal. So what he said in his post, and I understand this, is he said he didn't think there was enough time for him to deke, so he shot out to challenge, which I understand. And then when he does try to deke, now you're in oh shit mode because you thought he was going to shoot. So then what he is doing is just trying to avoid, he's trying to leave him nothing to shoot at. So you're floundering, you're flailing, and you're just trying to you're not trying to make a save. You're trying to leave him nothing to shoot at, knowing that you're just winding down the clock. And I think he largely did that because all he left him with was a shot through the crease that, even if it had gone past Leon, I don't think with 0.4, I don't think the other Vegas player there had time to bang it in. I think it was a done deal. So I understand what he did on the fourth goal. I don't think it was terrible, but obviously the result was.
All right, great breakdown there, Zuby. Okay, Struds, we're going to save the poll for the next segment, but I just got home, so I'm going to hop inside while you guys take care of Relentless Player and get us to break. Struddy, so back over to you, buddy.
Let's do this. The Relentless Player brought to you by You Can Use Services. Are you looking to hire entry-level staff for your company? You Can Use Services trains youth in pre-employment skills to help get them ready, willing, and able to join your team. Check out www.youcan.ca for more information. There's a few different people I could go with here. Corey Perry would be an option. But Brownie, I was leaning towards Karlsson for his effort on that final goal. And I think for that alone, he'll earn the title because he just didn't stop. Most guys would dump it in, like you said, just kind of say, okay, let's just play for the overtime. He decided we're putting this thing down. I want to get back to my hotel room and play Call of Duty. So I'm going with Willie Karlsson, Wild Willie Karlsson, for that singular effort on the winning goal.
100%. He's one of my favorite players to watch. I just love the way he plays. I do. He goes, like, he plays against the other team's best players. And he is relentless against them. And the play, again, how many times have you seen late in a regulation that's about to go to overtime where the guy looks up at the clock, sees about 8 seconds, just pulls the puck back, lets the time wind down. The opposition, they all stand back, said, okay, we're going to go to overtime. He could have done that. He was 1-on-4. 1-on-4 with all 4 of his teammates changing. And he still decided, you know what? I'm going to make an effort here. And that effort put the Vegas Golden Knights back in this series by beating 4 Oilers. And as you said, none of them had their head on a swivel. None of them. They're all staring at the puck. The puck comes out, and then good play by Riley Smith. But yes, huge play and relentless play, William Karlsson.
Yeah, and Brownie, those are your 4 of your core players, right? On that goal. Mm-hmm. That, and I've already talked about it, but that's why they're out there. That's your guys, right? That's why I honestly, if I'm non-block, I'm going to show these videos. Say, guys, look at this. We are better than this because they've done it before. We've seen them do it before. But it was just a little bit off tonight, and that gave Vegas a chance to get back in the game. They were losing 2-0, and then ultimately win the game. So, yeah, not fun video or conversation, but I think it's a good one to have. Okay, let's stuck out here really quick. When we come back, takeaways, and we'll continue to break down this 4-3 last-second loss. Makes the series 2-1, Vegas Oilers. Get to that next here on the show. Stay with us.
Join over 250,000 Canadians to Canada's best mattress. Douglas is proudly made in Canada and ships directly to your door for free. Douglas is easy to set up. Enjoy perfectly balanced comfort and an easy-to-clean machine washable cover. Get a free sleep bundle with your Douglas mattress. Try risk-free for 365 nights. Get your Douglas mattress today.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolandentistry.com.
Choosing the right health and dental coverage can feel overwhelming, but Alberta Blue Cross is here to make it simple. Their user-friendly website features a free quote tool to guide you through choosing your plan, or you can chat directly with one of their specialists for personalized help. Every plan includes access to personal, nutritional, and financial counseling at no extra cost. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/personal to learn more.
Just organized it like, yep.
Yeah, it's fine. No, it's fine.
Struddy is good under pressure. What can he say? He's good under pressure. All right, welcome back to the show. Time now for Takeaways, brought to you by Martin Motorsports. Countdown to summer is on. Make it a Sea-Doo summer and hit the water in full throttle with a new Sea-Doo Spark from Martin Motorsports. Every ride will be unforgettable. Dive into their inventory online at martinmotorsports.ca or visit them at one of their 2 Edmonton locations on the south side or over on the west side. Okay, guys, we've talked about the individual errors and Draisaitl and goaltending and such and such. Let's get big picture on the Oilers and their game tonight. Struds, they finally get out to a 2-0 lead. I was thinking about Brownie as Vegas comes back in that game. I was like, oh, crap. Because Brownie and I have been getting into it over whether good starts actually matter or not. I think they do. Brownie insists they don't. And I got to say, Struds, this is another night where Brownie's looking like he's coming up on the right end of an argument with me.
Yeah, not only is he an attractive man, he's got great insight, does Rob Brown. So you know what? I after the start, I'm like, okay, these guys are buzzing. And I thought they were really skating, going well. You know, Corey Perry, God love him, 2 goals. I mean, just absolutely amazing that quickly. But then I don't know what, there's a shift. They just kind of stopped skating a little bit. It's like, they're like, okay, 2 goals is enough. Well, it's not. And to go off of what Brownie says, you know, we probably need 5-0. So as I was sitting watching, I'm thinking, okay, they got to get through this period 2-0. And then I think that they'll regroup. But those 2 goals came bang, bang right away. And I think Leon even said, that the 2 goals unsettled us. And they kind of never got back on track, and they got going, Brownie. So you were right about the starts, but they needed 1 more or to get through the first, I believe, to have this game locked in.
Well, it was a huge goal that was scored by Nicholas Waugh. It gave them belief. And once they had the belief, they just kept on pushing. And it was like, oh, wait a second. The Oilers thought the game was over. I go back to Leeds mean nothing in the National Hockey League playoffs. They don't. It seems that a team gets a lead early and all of a sudden they sit back a bit and the other team plays with more urgency. And for the next 50 minutes of this hockey game, the urgency was all with the Vegas Golden Knights. The Oilers had none until the last 2.5 minutes. That was as good a defensive effort as we've seen against the Oilers all year long. The Oilers had nothing until a Connor McDavid shot that Hill made a great save on late in the game. So, Stretch, you're right. The Oilers stopped skating. They stopped playing with urgency. And the Vegas Golden Knights, they had to be desperate, and they were the better team.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to direct this next question at Struds, and he can take his time with the answer. Brownie, that'll give you a chance to mute your mic and sort out whatever you have going with your camera shot. Here, I don't know, dude, like the headspace is a little, to just get yourself squared away there. Struds, I don't know, when you think about game 1 and how well the Oilers played, they were just on it. And they've been so far from getting back to that level. And I know Vegas has something to do with that because they have been better. But they sort of showed Struds how tight they can be, how sharp they can be, the attention to detail. What do you think has changed here in the last couple of games?
Yeah, I think you got to give a lot of credit to Vegas. I think that they're playing better. I unfortunately I use this one all the time, but just their puck management and game management, and that's a lot of times what it all comes down to, anyways. But let's just review some of these goals from tonight. Like Leon coming through neutral zone, nothing really there. Like there's really no man advantage, and he gets caught from behind, and boom, it goes the other way. Or a change, it's poor. Being harder on the zone entries, not letting someone get in. Like those aren't really skills. Those are just management, understanding where you're at, the time of the game, all that kind of stuff. So I think that it's those little details that have got away from their game, and they're feeling really good and everyone is scoring. They had to recapture those little details. And I think this is a massive wake-up call for them. And not that they're in big trouble, but it's a big wake-up call to get that back on it. So I think we will see a tighter defensive game from the Oilers in Game 4.
Well, I think what we saw tonight, though, was this is how I thought the series was going to be played. Not that Vegas was going to win. I thought Vegas wanted to play low-event hockey. And I thought in Game 1, it was too high event. There were just so many chances, and Vegas doesn't want to trade chances with you. They want to, keep everything to the outside, not to kind of suffocate you, and have the ability when you make a mistake to transition quickly and go score a goal. This was how Vegas normally plays hockey. We saw it tonight. Vegas has been the better team the last 2 games. They only have one victory out of it, but they've been the better team in both of those games. And now there's belief. So the Oilers' attention to detail has not been good the last 2 games. They gave up Game 2 of this series. They gave more grade A scoring chances than, a handful of games in the LA series. And then tonight, it was smaller ones, but details win you championships. And I think tonight, losing the puck in neutral zone, Bouchard not picking up a man in front of his own net, no head on a swivel on the game-winning goal. Those are easily fixed, but they shouldn't have to be fixed in Game 3 of the division championship. This should have been something that they already had in their game.
Paul Wood chimes in and says, the Oilers' attention to detail is terrible. They paid for every mistake. Gabriella C. coming in and says, we knew Oilers would not sweep them, but I thought Oilers would play better than they did. Canadian says, there's a difference between how the Oilers approach a game psychologically when Pickard is in net versus when Skinner is in net. I do believe that. They have more confidence when Pickard is playing. I hear a lot of this out there. I don't know. You guys have played in this league in front of all kinds of different goaltenders. I will totally defer to you guys on this one. Brownie, is there anything to this idea that the Oilers somehow play a different game when 30 is in instead of 74?
Well, I thought the Oilers were terrible defensively in Game 2 in front of Calvin Pickard. They were horrible. Vegas had more grade A scoring chances than the Oilers had given up in any game this year in the playoffs. Tonight, Vegas didn't have half as many as that game. So, no, I disagree with that. There are times when you go from one goalie to another, and there is a huge, huge difference. But that was more in junior. And all of a sudden, you're blocking everything with your face because you know that guy can't let one in. I don't believe that the Oilers play different in front of Pickard and Skinner, and I think they have confidence in both of them.
Yeah, you know what? I've talked to different guys that played in the NHL, and they do think teams play different in front of goalies. I'm not sure. It's hard because I had to play in front of everybody, right? I didn't have a choice of taking a night off. But usually when a goalie you think is weaker goes in, just like Brownie says, like if we block everything, we have a chance of winning 1-0 here, right? Like, so I don't know if that's really holds water. You look at some of those breakdowns, both last game and this game. Did it matter who was in net? Like could have been Dominic Hasek, and they would have still been chances against. So. I'm not sure. Now you could say there's maybe more emotion when Pickard's in there because they like the story and they get excited. But as far as defensively, I have a hard time envisioning that being a choice.
So Ro Nelson says, Brownie, it's actually a statistical fact that the Oilers score more with Pickard and give up less. Right. So, the numbers are going to paint a picture. But what people are suggesting is that a player will play a different game on a given night based on who is behind them, that it's an individual thing.
that as an individual, you would go out and play the game differently because now I'm not saying that the players don't have their own preference on who's in net. They're human beings. They might have guys that they prefer. Defensemen might have a guy they prefer because of the way he moves the puck or this or that or whatever. I'm not saying that they don't have their own preferences. It feels like a stretch to me to suggest that a player would go out and play the game differently. Like, and if you were less confident in a goaltender, wouldn't you fundamentally play the game much more defensively with that in mind? So if you're scoring more with Pickard in net, like what, I don't know. It seems odd to me. Like you would be buckling down more defensively around a guy that you were a little bit unsure of. So I think guys have their preferences, but I'm not sure that they would be playing significantly different in front of one guy versus the other. Zuby, what else do we have for sound? We got some Chris Knobloch talking about the game overall.
Yeah, we got Knobs talking about the turnovers, and then he kind of goes into specifically about the final goal as well. Shall I hit it?
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
All right, let's go.
Anytime there's turnovers in the neutral zone, you don't want. We're not a team that's can always dump and chase and put it behind. You never want any mistakes, but it is the game, and you try and limit those as much as possible. The game-winning goal, we're in a good position. We've got, really it's a 1-on-3. He dumps the puck and they retrieve it, and we're just playing a little desperate to try and make the play, block the shot, and what happens is they make a play, and unfortunate that that's the end of it.
All right. We saw some sliding. So the penalty kill stopped sliding. They stopped doing that automatic slide down near the net. But Struds, there was a big slide there from Darnell Nurse. So I know the way you feel.
You know the way I feel? I'll tell you how I feel. Oh, sorry. Yeah, how I feel about sliding. Sorry, we lost you there, Shogger. That's so that's a long slide, and he did make it more of a challenge to get around. But that's when I think sliding it goes wrong. It's just too long, and the guy's able to skate around you and make a play. I'm actually softening my position on sliding, but that's the case why you don't slide, Brownie.
See, I'm when I was on a 2-on-1, I hated when a defenseman slid. It took away one of my options. I had to shoot. Mm-hmm. I want a defenseman to stand up. If you're standing up, I will beat you every time with a pass. Every time. If you slide, now I have to shoot, and sometimes I don't want to shoot. So you've got to time it properly. But good defensemen normally do. To me, if a defenseman goes down, then you just took away my passing option. Now I got to shoot, and I trusted my passing more than I trusted my shooting. So I have no problem with a defenseman sliding.
Okay, where are we at on Darnell Nurse, Struds? 41.46% of the shot attempt share on the ice for 3 goals against. It's been pointed out to me like the goal differential for him in the postseason is not a pretty one when it comes to even strength scoring for and against. Where are you at on his play so far in this series and tonight, Struds?
Yeah, and I've been getting a lot of texts like that as well. And the goal differential. And I get it. Like it doesn't look good. The challenge is he involved in each one of those goals? Like tonight, you look at the goals. Like how many of those are directly his responsibility? And we have to go through it each one and kind of decide, okay, yes or no. Is this one I believe he was on the ice for the first goal, but Bouchard is standing in the middle of nowhere, and Roy Ra is able to go in and get the rebound. Right, that's his guy. Now is that Darnell Nurse's problem? I suppose we could make the case that he has to go from his side to the other side to get it. I don't agree with that at all. Even the game-winning goal, his job is to go track back to the front net. He goes there. Leon and Connor over back check. His job isn't to stand at the hash marks. His is to go to the front of the net. So again, now, okay, then after that, I believe that 97 is going out there. Darnell doesn't have to go out there. Have a layer, right? So maybe Connor face goes up and push him to the wall, then Nurse can go and push him out, continue. So I can see that, but so in this case, I'm a little bit easier on those goals against on him than normal because he's unfortunately sometimes you're on the ice when things aren't going right.
What do you think? Well, when it comes to defense, I'm going to listen to Struds more so.
Yeah.
My eye test nurse has been fine. There's been blips, but I think there's been blips for everyone. But I think Struds is really good at explaining the defensive side of it, and I thought he was dead on that.
Yeah, we will leave it at that. Okay, this relates to our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll. We'll get to that in just a minute, Zuby. But after pretty consistently sticking with a core set of lines for 4 or 5 games in a row, there was more switching around tonight than we had seen over the last little bit. Late in the second period, there were a couple of shift changes where he split up McDavid and Draisaitl, and then he started that way in the third period, basically ran it that way, and then he put them back together late in the game. But bottom line, he got away from 29 and 97 together. My sense, Struds, was part of it was Leon Draisaitl needed to get his feet moving tonight, and having him in the middle maybe has a better chance of doing that. But what did you think of that decision and what resulted?
Well, last night we talked about, or 2 nights ago, we talked about, you can't break him up because the other lines are playing so well. I think it got to the point where okay, we got to get these 2 guys going. And so we do have to break them up, and that trumps what's going on, with other lines. I thought the other lines had some good moments. They weren't maybe as dominant as they had in first game, but that was, pretty crazy. So I was sitting here after the game making notes. Are they going to start with or without them together next game? And I think that's a pretty tough question for Knobloch. Do you believe in what you had going on in game 1 and some of game 2, or do you go with something different and completely change it up?
I think in this game, the reason they took them apart is the Oilers had nothing going from about halfway through the first period all the way until really 5 minutes to go in the game. The Vegas Golden Knights completely shut down the Oilers offensively. None of the lines were getting anything done. That was as good a defensive clinic as we've seen against the Oilers. Connor had a really nice play to Corey Perry in this game, and the Oilers had the overtime goal last game. But Vegas has done a fantastic job on Connor and Leon in this series. You can think that the first 2 games were on the back of depth players, were the reason that the Oilers got 2 victories. So tonight, I think they're looking, okay, Connor and Leon together aren't getting it done, and we're not creating anything anywhere else. Let's see if we can throw back-to-back lines out there. Let's throw out Connor's line, then Leon's line. Then that didn't work. And then all of a sudden they're looking up at the clock. There's 5-6 minutes left in the game. All right, let's go nuclear and hope something good happens, which did. Very fortunate bounce. But even that wasn't a good scoring chance that went in. That was a hope play that if it doesn't hit McNabb's foot, it's going in the far corner. Leon was going behind the net. Vegas was going to get the puck, and they were leaving the zone. So Vegas really actually played that really well, just got very unfortunate. So I'm with Struds. I don't know which way they go for game 4 because they've really have done a fantastic job against Connor and Leon. But a lot of it may depend on the health of Mark Stone because that changes how Vegas can play against them, losing their best 2-way player.
And what happened there? Way,
didn't he take a knee or a shin in the head when he fell down there?
Yeah,
I didn't know if it was that. I don't know if it was that or the other option might be, did he get cut on the wrist? Because Perry's skate also hit his wrist. Now, I don't know either way. I looked for blood afterwards, but Stone left 6 minutes to go in the first period, never returned. And they won this game without Mark Stone.
Yeah, it was crazy because I was trying to figure out what happened there, and I was like, I couldn't tell. Was it a cut? Was it a head? Like, I didn't think either looked really dangerous.
No,
right?
I agree.
So it wasn't clear, and so why is he like? What happened? I don't know. That's crazy.
Okay, we'll get to the DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll. Golf season is here. Dust off those old clubs and get ready for the season. New grips, new driver. Why not a whole new set even? DeBoer's has you covered. Locally owned and operated. They've been in business for over 25 years, and they're ready to help you play better golf. Visit them on the corner of 53rd Ave and 99th Street at DeBoersGolf.com. What we just discussed, Zoobs.
Yeah, pretty simple. Where should Connor and Leon start? I'm eating almonds. Where should Connor and Leon start game 4? Same line or different lines? I'm having these wasabi almonds, and I'm
okay.
And now I'm breathing. It's not hot. I'm breathing some into my airway. Anyway, that's our poll.
Okay.
Tonight.
Good. Yeah, the poll caught you off guard tonight.
It did, yeah.
Let us know what you think, and we'll get to the results coming up a little bit later on before Ask Us Anything.
On one good comment quickly on the poll. Liam said, Leon has to be hurt. Got to stay on the same line. So thinking that the support, if Draisaitl is ailing in any way, he felt that he needs to be with 97 to offset that. So some other comments along those same lines that maybe Leon, when he's by himself, is having trouble driving stuff on his own right now.
Yeah. I don't know. There's some suggestion that maybe there's an injury there. I mean, we look for signs, taking part in all the skates. Took a little while tonight to come out for his media availability. Is that because he's kind of gathering himself and figuring out what he's going to say, or is he getting treatment? I don't have any evidence that he is, so we'll just keep an eye on it moving forward. Last topic before we get to break here, guys. A lot of frustration from Oiler fans. I see it in the stream here. They end up getting a goal from a guy that a lot of Oiler fans felt should not have been in the lineup tonight. And they're chewing on that. They're hurting over to that one. I believe that it should have been a 1-game suspension and you move on. It sounds like Vegas thought it was going to be a 1-game suspension and you move on. Brownie, we'll start with you. What did you think?
Well, this was one of my brownie points, so you're only getting 4 brownie points tonight. I'm mad if I'm an NHL player in the National Hockey League. I'm pissed. As a player, you expect the National Hockey League to look after you. You know what? They added the instigator penalty a few years back to stop players from getting redemption themselves. They stop. We don't want you policing yourself. We'll police for you. Okay, fine. This was a cross-check to the face. 100% cross. There's no excuse. Don't tell me you're trying to cross-check the puck. Nobody cross-checks the puck. He cross-checked the guy in the face, drew blood, put the player down. Any other player, if it's not, most players, some don't get up from that. This is Frederick. He's tougher than me and tougher than most. The NHL, and I don't like the playoffs are more important, so the suspensions are less. You want to get dumb things out of hockey? Suspend them 3 games in the playoffs. Guess what? Guys aren't going to cross-check someone across the face in the playoffs. If Connor McDavid cross-checked a guy in the regular season and gets 3 games, it's 3 games. It's simple. You cross-check a guy in the face. Don't do that. So I think it was an absolute joke that he didn't get suspended. And again, this isn't as an Oiler fan. I thought McDavid deserved his 3 in the regular season, and I thought the Vegas Golden Knights got screwed the other night on the Arvidsson non-call trip. So I'm not just doing it because I'm an Oiler guy. It was an absolutely horrendous non-suspension for a guy that cross-checked another player across the face. If you're going to protect the players, protect them. An absolute joke.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a game as well. I'm not really too passionate about whether he didn't and he scores a goal. I mean, these things happen. I saw someone's commentary on the comparison between this and Connor McDavid. And I think that what he said, and I thought it was interesting. He said that, Connor's, he was angry and it was in retaliation to what was happening. So it was an angry move. Whereas this one it seemed more isolated, right? I've heard some people talking, maybe they had something happen during the shift. I didn't see it, but I wasn't at the game. So I'll if they think there was. So that'd be the difference in that one.
But to go on before you start, Sugar, but to me, it makes no difference. A cross-check in the face, whether you're angry or whether I think it's even worse if you're not angry. I just decided to cross-check him in the face. Yeah. You know what? But you cross-check the guy in the face. You deserve to be suspended. I mean, there's someone in the NHL, Braden Shen should have been suspended. He knocked Mark Scheifele out of the series. And they don't suspend him for flying. The guy jumped and hit a guy that wasn't looking, that didn't have the puck. The NHL, there's a couple plays that have happened in this playoffs that have been a joke. The players haven't been suspended for it. And I agree. And I don't care that Waugh scored today. I really don't care. He shouldn't have been in the lineup because he cross-checked a guy across the face. Simple as that.
Yeah. And I think you get into dangerous territory if you're Department of Player Safety when you start trying to crawl into a guy's head. Right? And because you open yourself up for now everything is open to interpretation. So by that, what I mean is that if you look at McDavid's suspension and you say the reason you're willing to get to 3 games on the McDavid suspension is because he retaliated and was clearly angry and he cross-checked a guy on the side of the head. Okay, so now you're crawling inside his brain, right? And you're making those assumptions. Well, now you feel you can crawl into
Waugh's brain and say, well, no, nothing happened where he was mad. The puck was there. He sort of flinched. And if the player is saying this to you, I saw the puck there. It was a quick reaction. It was an accident. It was just a stupid brain fart, and I didn't mean to do it, So if you're opening up the idea that you can crawl into a player's head in terms of delivering your suspension, it's dangerous territory for me at times, Strud. So I think you just need to take a look at the act and kind of make a call there.
So if that's the case, then why they interview the players?
Yeah, it's a great point.
Like, why do they have a hearing? If you're just on what you see, then you shouldn't have to talk to the guy, because then you don't want to hear what his thoughts are. Like I'll also say it was a 5-minute major in overtime. That's a fairly stiff penalty, right?
It's not. It's not stiff enough. He cross-checked a guy across the face. If I'm an NHL player, I want to know that if someone cross-checks me across the face, he's going to be suspended for it.
I understand that, but he was called to the rug for it, right? He got 5 minutes. Connor didn't get anything in the same situation. And so, listen, I'm not disagreeing. There should have been a suspension. I think one game would have been plenty, because he did face some suspension. He was kicked out. But I can't sit here and say that this was the reason he lost the game. Like I've seen some. I'm not suggesting you guys are, but there's been some talk online that this is that the Oilers are hated by the league. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I think it might have been Speck that suggested that, they get away with the player not being suspended, and that whether it's conscious or subconscious, that's tied in to the idea that they badly missed a call at the end of a game. And at the time they're making this decision, I don't know what Vegas was telling the league, but it was very questionable as to Braden McNabb's availability for this game. So the league completely screwed up badly at the end of last game. Does that fact penetrate Paros's thinking? It shouldn't. No. It should not 1 ounce. But is it human nature? Do you think that had something to do with it, Brownie?
I hope not. I really do hope not, because if all of a sudden, late in the hockey game, they just missed a call, I'm going to go cross-check someone across the face because, you know what, they're going to feel bad about it. No, it shouldn't have anything to do with it. I mean, they screwed up. The ref screwed up on the Arvidsson call. That was 100% a penalty. Probably cost Vegas the game, because Vegas power play was outstanding that game. So they screwed that up. But that has nothing to do with what Roy Raw did. I mean, he cross-checked a guy across the face. I mean, you can't do that and not be suspended for it. It's not right. And now a precedent's been set. What if Darnell Nurse cross-checks someone across the face? Well, you didn't suspend Roy Raw. Why does Nurse get suspended? You just open that up. And I think the simple play is, there's the act. The act is deserving of a suspension.
Yeah. Mike Smith says, don't give excuses to Peros, Shogger. I'm not, Mike. I'm saying if he is thinking that, he shouldn't be. The two should be completely separate, and he should not be conflating those two issues in any way, shape, or form. Well, that was one that was sticking in Oil fans' craw, so I thought we needed to flesh that one out. That was Takeaways, brought to you by our good pals over at Martin Motorsports. All right, when we come back, Brownie Points, Struddy's World, Ask Us Anything, Core Adjustments. We'll take a lap. We got tons still ahead on the show, so stay with us here on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta. Right back.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
All right, time now for Brownie Points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky, the ultimate jerky haul. Hamel's has you covered with 4 pounds of their mouth-watering jerky for $139, plus 5 free jerky-flavored pepperoni sticks with your order. That's a great deal. Free shipping Alberta-wide. It's a whole lot of premium protein-packed goodness, perfect for road trips, job sites, or just being the snack hero at home. Visit albertajerky.com to order. Brownie?
Well, let's start with 5 brownie points to the 39 and almost 40-year-old Corey Perry, who scored his 5th goal in 9 games here in the playoffs. I'm not sure if that leads the Oilers, but it's got to be pretty darn close. This was a guy at the beginning of the season. We all talked about him. Is this guy going to be a 40-game during the season? He's going to be a 50-game guy. He's going to be a 4th-line player. He's willed himself and proven himself to put himself on the first line and on the first power play unit, which I think also is a shocking thing. He scores his 4th and 5th goals of the playoff. Just think about where the Oilers would be without him in their lineup right now. I've got 0.4 brownie points to William Karlsson, who, with time running out in the game, doesn't dump the puck in. He looks at his bench, he sees how much time's left, and he tries to make a play. And he beat four Oilers to the puck. He beat Leon, Connor, Nurse, and Kulak. He started at center, beat all 4 of them, and he was the first guy to get to the puck in the offensive zone. So good on William Karlsson. I got minus 61 to the Vegas Golden Knights because they went the final 46 minutes of this hockey game without number 61, Mark Stone. There are 2 injuries that we will be looking at over the next 48 hours, and they will both play pivotal roles in the remainder of this series. Is Calvin Pickard healthy enough to play in Game 4 or even after that? And is Mark Stone still going to be around in this series? Both would be big losses for their teams. Mark Stone is one of the best players in the world. We know that because he played on the first line in the Four Nations Cup. I've got minus 4 to the Oilers' 4 veterans who were on the ice at the end of the game. No head on the swivel. And I think this just is a bigger point, as Struds talked about details for this Oilers team tonight. And it was their veteran players. Details with bad line changes. Details not getting pucks in deep. Details not having a head on a swivel. This was Game 3 of the second round of the National Hockey League playoffs against a very good Vegas team. This is not a game where you are still trying to find details. So that's on all of the players, but the Oilers, they are a veteran-laden team. Mistakes like that shouldn't happen. And this one was added because we took away the Nicolas Roy. I added 3 brownie points to Vegas Golden Knights general manager Kelly McCrimmon. On March 6th, he made a very subtle trade. He traded a 3rd-round draft pick for Riley Smith, a player that he's had before. They couldn't afford him when he was there before under the salary cap. They went and got him at the trade deadline. Smith fit in nicely after Mark Stone left the game tonight. He scores 2 big goals. His first one, a thing of beauty, where he walked through the Oilers' 2 players, Arvidsson and Podkolzin, and then made Skinner look silly. And then the one that he scored, that was a beauty at the end of the game, having the patience to go around. Little lucky, off of Leon's stick. But that trade of Riley Smith was subtle at the time, paying huge dividends here in the second round. And those are my brownie points.
Well, with Mark Stone getting dinged up and he gets elevated up the lineup and he comes up with a big moment. He's got lots of experience. He's super tight with Karlsson too. They were saying after the game their families are super close. They're happy to have him back, Struddy. So that would be a morale boost for a team, getting a familiar face. Like, do you have experience, Struds, with a familiar face coming back? Maybe you were that guy.
Yeah, I did return to the Rangers, and they were happy to see me. Goalies knew they'd get more shots. Yeah, it's fun, like, because you think a guy's gone and he comes back and you're excited, right? So, yeah, it's, that's what the playoffs is about. Someone's got to slide up. You're going to be injured. Just slide up and just, figure it out. How am I going to help this lineup? And when someone's already been through it with this team and played with some of these guys before, man, that's a nice thing to have sliding up. And don't forget how Saad was out as well, right? So not that he's been there a long time, but he's kind of a fixture on that one line.
All right. Brownie points brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Matt Blom from BC chiming in saying, hopefully once these interprovincial trade barriers drop, the Blommer can get some Hamel's shipped out to BC. Don't know that I like him using his own nickname like that, Strud, speaking about himself in the third person. I feel like maybe that he's just Matt for the rest of the night after that.
Yeah, we have to have a conference call with the Blomsker and figure out what's going on here. He's getting a little bit too big for himself, right? Yeah. He's handing out his own nickname. Like, come on, calling himself.
Next thing you know, he'll be asking for brownie points. By the way, Dallas Scarlett says, Brownie got me re-fired up about the non-Roy Waugh suspension. I'm now sitting up in bed. So we Dallas Scarlett was going to drift off nicely into the evening, but he's all fired up, Brownie. Your passion there was certainly notable. All right, Zuby, roll the animation. Time for Struddy's World.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Gotta look good.
Just Matt says, sheesh, I'm just playing off you, but yeah, I want brownie points. Who doesn't? Well, you're not getting any, just Matt, for the rest of the night. We will give out the nicknames here. Time for Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products, Alberta's #1 vinyl product supplier. They offer top quality materials to build a fence or deck that will not rot, will not fade, will not fall apart. And if you need a skilled contractor to take care of the job or prefer the do-it-yourself approach, they got your back. They can get you set up with everything you need. Canadian owned and operated. My brothers! Calgary and Edmonton are their locations. Visit them online, dlrvinylproducts.ca. Struddy!
Evander Kane gets 2 minutes for a hit to the head on Pietrangelo in the corner. Kind of shoulder, but it goes right to, it kind of gets up and does catch some head. And I don't remember seeing that very often, that call being made anytime. And listen, I'm all in favor of no headshot, especially mid-ice or from behind or catching with your elbow a chicken wing. You put the guy to sleep. But this one was an odd one. Just the way it happened. Was it a shot to the head? Yeah, it was. But you don't see them called very much. So I'm actually going to give some Jason points to the NHL for calling that play. I actually like that call. I still like the hit by Kane. I want him to finish that check. But guys, I'm going to give him the NHL 91 brownie points for that, making that call. And I hope that's something they keep going.
Whoa. You do not just give out. You can ask Brownie if he might be willing to consider some additional brownie points. You don't just give them out like they're yours to give, Struds.
Well, they're Jason points. They're not worth much. They're like pesos.
All right, Brownie, chime in and make your decision if you're going to give some brownie points.
I hate headshots, and there's some things happening in the playoffs I don't like. I mean, there's the embellishment penalty for the guy that got drilled headfirst into the boards in the Toronto game a couple nights ago. Like, I don't understand some of the things, but yes, I know that my buddy Bob Stauffer was not happy with that penalty, but I do believe it did come up into his head, and and it was the right call. It was the right call, and get that out of the game. Get the head shots out. There's too many guys with concussions around. I've got a bunch of buddies. We're not normal when we get to this age with all the concussions we have. So let's take that out of the game. So Struddy, I'll give him 91 Struddy points. You're right. You get Struddy points.
The exchange isn't great on that, but
no, it's not. Lauren the Alchemist says Jason points are like Canadian Tire money. Dallas Scarlett asking the question, Struddy is free to dish brownie points now? No, he's not, Dallas. I think I checked him pretty hard. So let's just get that square. So Matt Blom hopped out and hopped back in. His handle is now just Matt I'll accept my narcissism punishment through Monday for using my GYB nickname in third person. You're right, you will, Just Matt.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you on Monday, Just Matt, and not before then. Jason points are like Canadian dollars, Liam W says. And lots of people suggesting, Struds, that there was major embellishment there and that should have been negated. What say you about the embellishment?
Yeah, I mean, Pietrangelo know how to do it, but I still, you can embellish it. Doesn't mean it's not a headshot, right? Like, I think you have to be careful. Like, you know, it's still, even if you trip a guy and he kind of gives a little extra, it's still a trip, right? And so now I will say I didn't like that call, Brownie, for sure, but I don't like it when you call the penalty on, like, let's say a hit from behind and the embellishment. It's either one or the other. I think you have 100%. To punish one party or the other. Don't ride the fence and, you know.
I agree 100%. Well, the one in the Toronto one, that Lawton skated all the way across the ice, hit Evan Rodriguez head first into the glass. They showed Rodriguez's face up against the glass, and he got 2 minutes for embellish. How do you embellish getting your face right into the glass? I thought that was a terrible call. But that game, the referees lost control of it. The Florida-Toronto game, the refs lost complete control of that game.
Okay, that was Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Going to hang on to Brownie for one more segment here as we get into our HSE core adjustments. And that is brought to you by HSE Core Services. I'm throwing Zuby a fastball. He didn't know I was doing this. Let's see how he adjusts.
Let's see
if you're a small to medium-sized business. What's that?
I said, we'll see what the 3-shot looks like. I might have Ryan Martin in here.
Let's see. Bring us up. HSE Core has your back when it comes to health and safety compliance, from creating and managing a tailored health and safety program that meets all legislation and core requirements. They support their clients' operations every step of the way. They're a great partner. If you're a business that needs some help with this, www.hsecor.com. Zuby, it's tight. Everything is where it should be. Everybody's name is correct. Well done, sir. You have redeemed yourself.
I did a proper pre-show today, I guess.
Yeah. Well job, friend. Well job. Core adjustments moving forward. Okay, Struds, you're Chris Knobloch. You're pretty dominant in the first game. Defensively, you're tight. Everything is going well. Your lines are clicking. We're all singing the praises of 4 lines contributing, and everything's going great. And then systematically over the next couple of games, things start to change pretty significantly. Tonight, you spit one up. You spit up a lead. So what is on your list for your adjustments if you are this head coach, Struddy? Where do you start?
Well, you kind of answered it right there. I think just the awareness defensively and being detailed in that, understanding that Vegas wants to counterpunch. That's what they want to do. They want to counterpunch on you. So you got to be really patient and know your role or your jobs every time you come back into your own end. So that to me is priority job number 1.
I think it's just details, just simple details, things that there's nothing that you teach at this time of the season. They know their jobs. They know their rules. They know what they're supposed to do. Heads on the swivel, get pucks in deep, understanding game management. You have a 2-0 lead. That's not the time to get pickpocketed in the middle of the neutral zone. That's the time to get the puck in deep. To me, the details the last 2 games haven't been good. And we also got to give credit to the Vegas Golden Knights. They're good. And their forecheck has been very good. And they're not giving the Oilers time and space. And I think that's the difference that we've seen in this series. And I know that the Oilers are up 2-1, but game 2, Vegas was better. Vegas doesn't allow, when LA got up in the games, they just completely backed off. And the defense got to skate all the way up to red line without being touched and dumped in. Even when the Vegas Golden Knights get into a controlled forecheck, they're still forcing you one way, and they're still attacking you before you get to the red line. So they are not giving the Oilers time and space. And I think the Oilers got lulled into a false sense of security against LA that, we got all this time in the world to make plays. Not against Vegas, you don't. And I think Vegas has done a really good job the last 2 games. The Oilers have to, and Struds would know more than me about this, for the defense, they have to get back quicker, and they got to have an outlet to get to very quickly. Someone has got to give them either a short pass or behind the net, because the Vegas Golden Knights are taking away the Oilers defensemen's time and space, and that's where they're creating turnovers.
Would you consider any personnel changes, Struds? Any adjustments in the lineup?
You know what? I think you could take a look at Stetcher. it's not a super heavy series, right? At least I don't feel like it is from the D-men perspective. I think that you want to get his quickness in there to get back to just talk what Brownie just nailed on the head. Like as a D-man, the faster you get back to the pucks, the more time you have to make the puck work for you. So Emerson only played, I think, was it 7 minutes tonight, boys? Might be somewhere in there. The problem is the penalty kill. You got to have that sorted out.
Yep.
He does penalty kill. So, that's actually, that might change my opinion. But for the 5-on-5, Stetcher, I'd take a look at him because he's quicker. Brownie?
I wouldn't change anything up front. Your only option really is bringing in Jeff Skinner. I don't think the bottom 9 forwards have done anything that would warrant them being pulled out of the lineup. So I agree with Struds. If you're going to make a change, it would be Stetcher for Emerson. And if Picker's healthy, Picker will play.
What about Arvidsson, guys? What about Arvidsson? If there is a player that like his numbers tonight, and again, it's not like shot share is everything in a game or Corsi is everything in a game, but the shot attempts were 13-3 for the opposition when he was on the ice tonight across all strengths. And I haven't really seen him get that forecheck established. Like, he wants to get in there and do those sorts of things. Do you think about a Kapanen? Do you think about a little something different on a fourth line player coming in? Since he's a fourth line player, which he's not really designed to be.
Well, we were just talking about how great the fourth line was last game, and he was part of that. So, that's a pretty quick turnaround. You have one off game that you're gone. No, I give him another shot. I think Arvidsson stays. I wouldn't change anything up front. I wouldn't.
No, me too. They're the best line, 60 minutes ago. I can't pull the rug out from underneath them.
Yep, I think that's fair. Just playing devil's advocate, asking the questions some people were asking on the stream. But yeah, they piled up a bunch of wins there, and I think there's a little more leash that gets built in for everybody when you win as a group like that. Probably less likely that any single person is held accountable after one loss. That was our core adjustments brought to you by HSE Core Services. Brownie, great job tonight, buddy. Look forward to chatting after game number 4, my friend.
All right. Night, everybody.
All right. That is Robbie Brown. Before we get to break, let's get to our Canadian Club scoreboard. The all-new CC Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in at 58%. Their highest proof Canadian Club Classic to date is a full-bodied whiskey with aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and rich oak with a butterscotch finish. We're getting whittled down here, Struds, in terms of series on the go, but there was another one tonight.
Yeah, another big game here, right? Carolina, Washington, and Carolina pulls it out 4-0. They get the win in front of their home fans. Everyone's pretty jacked up, and Svechnikov gets them on the board in the second period. But it was kind of unsung heroes. Roslovic had a goal, Eric Robinson had a goal, Jason Blake gets his second goal on the power play. So 4-0, pretty impressive game by Carolina. 4-0.
So
up to
were you able to watch much of this game, Struds? Did you see much of it?
Yeah, a very little.
So one of the things I saw a lot of online was the difference in the entertainment and quality in terms of games to watch. How much better the Edmonton game was. There's a sense that this series is painfully boring. Now, I watched more of the last game than I did of this one.
Likewise.
But stylistically, from what you've seen, would you agree?
No, I'd agree with it. Not a ton of shots in the game, but you'd think it'd be more exciting with Washington in it, but it's not. It's just kind of predictable, meat grinder, just keep the puck moving. It's not super exciting for sure to watch. So yeah, because I watched game 2, I believe, and yeah, I was like, I'm not rushing back to this again.
Yeah. Florida Panthers kept their hopes alive, struck back. They're playing the Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow. And, of course, you got Dallas and Winnipeg ready to go at it again as well. That was our scoreboard brought to you by Canadian Club. Quick break. When we come back, we will take a lap. As well, our Ask Us Anything segment. Got a solid number on the stream tonight, although a lot of Oiler fans clearly just turned their TVs off and went to bed because
for post game in the playoffs, I feel like Oiler fan kind of shut her down tonight. But we're thankful for everybody that is on live with us tonight. We got a solid number going. Send us your questions for Ask Us Anything, and we'll get to that as well here on Got Your Back, presented by our title sponsor, our presenting sponsor, Play Alberta. If you're considering a vinyl fence, don't be fooled by cheap marketplace imitations. Get top quality vinyl fence from a trusted company with 20 years in the industry. With locations in Calgary and Edmonton, check out dlrvinylproducts.ca.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has delivered a high-quality membership experience to Edmonton and area. And now it's even better. Drainage and irrigation improvements in 2024 have taken course conditions to a new level. This commitment to long-term sustainability means exceptional playing conditions all season long. Belvedere's tee sheet availability is unmatched, so join now and experience golf the way it was meant to be played, on your schedule. Visit belvederegcc.com today. Let's take a couple of laps around the league, shall we? Presented by Acon. If you're a skilled tradesperson or construction professional, you're looking for work in Western Canada, they want to hear from you. Fire your resume their way. Trades@acon.com is the email address. That's trades@acon.com. One of Canada's original industrial contractors, building some of the largest multi-year industrial projects in Western Canada, and you can be part of it. Once again, resumes to trades@acon.com. Struddy, where are we going to go first?
Well, huge story, obviously, with Anthony Stolarz missing Game 3. We saw what happened in Game 2. He threw up on the bench. He came back. Well, according to Craig Berube, the head coach of the Leafs, they're not sure exactly who's going. He's not skating yet. Now, it's only been a couple days. He's not skating yet, so not sure if what it means for him in the future. But that means Joe Woll is front and center for Game 4 in Florida. The biggest game for sure of this season for him.
So what do you think, man? Like, I don't think we've talked since that all that happened and Florida gets back into the mix here. I mean, that's just the most Brad Marchand clutch Brad Marchand thing of all time. Like, it's so, the fact that they traded for him to go and score that goal. There was going to be a big moment. There was going to be a whole bunch of something on the line where they needed somebody with nerves of steel to go and get something done. That's why they traded for him, was to score that goal, Struds.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Like, that team has winners. Most of them all won before, but they traded for another winner who's maybe a little older than some of them. And that's just a grease goal, right? Just pure grease. Goes off Riley into the net and he gets it done. And you know what? It's a huge goal and he's had a lot of success. I think it's something like 5 series he's won over the Leafs. So he's very comfortable playing in Toronto. He's very comfortable, playing against Toronto. I think he enjoys beating Toronto, if I'm being honest. So it's a nice pickup for them for sure. And that's what they need. They need a guy like that to come in and deliver in a key moment like he did.
Yeah. Okay. What else we got, buddy? To the Worlds?
Yeah, World Championships. I know the Oilers fans probably aren't focused on this, but I had a number of friends text me. Today they played, I think it was Slovenia. And there's a crazy line. It's a fantasy line of magnificent proportions. Crosby, Nathan McKinnon, and Macklin Celebrini. Like, it's like it's crazy. Yeah, how great a line it is. I saw some of it, not tons, but just amazing that they put those 3 guys together on a line, and that is not fun to play against for anybody.
Did you see the crowd around Sidney Crosby for his media availability? Did you see it on TV? How many people there were, Struddy?
Yeah, and then he had the Team France was waiting to get back to the locker room. They couldn't get by.
Yeah.
So they're standing there like,
Yeah.
I guess we'll just wait for Sid. Let us know when you're done, Sid. You know, like just crazy.
I don't know, man. I don't know that they would have been. I mean, they were probably kind of in awe too, right? Like you watch that happen, and a lot of those guys. I mean, they're not all NHL players, so it's a spectacle. Right. I've been to the Worlds many times, and when those big high-end stars are around in some of those other nations that aren't, necessarily the high-end hockey nations, they come within orbit of those guys. They play them hard, Struds. Like they play them hard, and they're I give them so much credit for the way they get out there. But behind the scenes, I think it's pretty cool for some of those guys to have that proximity to those players.
Oh yeah, I played in Switzerland with guys that were from Slovenia, and they talked about playing the stars of that time. This is a number of years ago, and they said, we know we're going to lose, but it's huge for us to get on the same ice as them, and it's like a dream come true. That's as close as they're going to get to them.
Yeah. Okay, that was Taking a Lap, brought to you by our friends at Acon. We'll keep an eye on Team Canada over at the World Championships, of course, on TSN. Zuby, hop in and let's wrap up the YouTube poll, my friend.
Yeah, I pressed there I am. And there is Shogger back in Florida. Here we go. Okay. It was very close. The poll question tonight, where should Connor and Leon start game 4? On the same line, 55%. Different lines, 44%. A little over 250 votes. So pretty divided on this topic.
I would probably go to them on separate lines to start the game. And then, you can always go to them if things get a little dicier, if you're not off to the start that you want, Struds. I think we've seen enough of McDavid and Draisaitl together over the years to know that at a certain point, it does start to stagnate a little bit. And I think they maybe are at that point. And even if they're not, you can still always go back to it if you want to. So I would probably be of a mind to split them up. What do you think
that's
now
a really
that we've
good
got some
point.
time?
Who do you want to play with Leon, though? Kane and Perry and Leon?
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't necessarily love that, but do you want to Frankenstein something that you have not done all year, right?
Yeah. I don't love that line. So, yeah, I am. Could you put him back with Arvidsson and Paul Colson, right? And then beef up another line with Kane, Henrique, Brown. It's not easy. Like, it's funny how we love the configurations of the 4 lines, but as soon as you move them off, now it kind of things get jammed up a bit.
Yeah. Could you give, and I know he hasn't been great, but maybe see what he can do with a little bit more ice time. And can you maybe give Frederick a bump up if it allows you to bump somebody else down a little bit, right? He has scored some goals in the past. Yeah. And again, I know he hasn't been fantastic, but he's just getting back and getting, maybe there's a possibility there.
Yeah. And I do like the idea of having some heaviness on every line, right? Something that can be heavy.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But Chris has a plan. Like he figures it out, man. This is about around the part of the series where games 2 to 4, he figures it out.
Yeah, that's an excellent point by you. And that this is where that touch that we talk about, he generally can figure out which lever to pull in this exact situation that we're talking about, right? Season's not on the line. This isn't like do or die, but a critical moment in the series, he generally can find the right button to push. Let's get to Ask Us Anything, brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies. Founded in 1976, they're a full-line distributor providing quality wholesale electrical products for use in industrial, commercial, and residential settings. Proudly owned and operated here in Edmonton. Visit bjelectric.ca. All right, Zuby, bring it to us.
All right, let's go with the first one that's on everybody's mind. Leaky37 wants to know, do you think Pickard will be available for Monday night? What's your sense, Shogger?
Okay, so my understanding is there was a skate this morning before the rest of the group. He did not take morning skate today with the full team, which means, wasn't in position to go out and put in the extra work before practice that the goalies normally do. And so, day to day is the way they listed him. My guess is, so he gets dinged up in that game 2 days ago. So he had yesterday, he had today. It's a day off the ice tomorrow where he'll probably go on and just test things out lightly again. And then you've got morning skates. So really, he's got basically 4 days here, Struds. And so if this is, a minor injury that maybe you just don't want to mess with if you're a goalie, I would think that might be enough time for him. So I'm going to say I would be somewhat optimistic that he'll be available for next game.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. But I just wonder, like, if it's day to day, why can't you just play? Like like what percent is it different if it's goalie? Like, are you 50%, 70, 80, 90%? Like, I'd love to know where Braden McNabb on his shoulder was at, because he was day to day. He came back. And I'm not saying that Calvin's not tough. That's not what I'm saying. But like day to day,
different for the goalie, though, isn't it?
Well,
like, do you grind through with an injury as a goalie when you got a healthy guy sitting there? You're not one of six.
Fair point.
And if you weren't ready and you decided to put yourself there, like, I don't know, Zuby, what do you think? You be careful with that, don't you?
No, I think that's a good point. I mean, you do have a backup, but yeah, not 6 backups. I find that whenever, I don't know, getting out there, you can feel good, and the adrenaline feels good. And if you go down one time, if it's something that can, you feel it immediately, and there's no going back from that. You can feel pretty good in a warm up, but because there's so much stretching involved, yeah, it's the stretch, the tweak, it can happen really fast, and then it's worse than it was before. So I'm not sure.
And potentially it's adrenaline that gets you through to the end of that game, Struds, after he was hurt, right? You figure out a way to finish it. And then all of a sudden after the game, he wasn't available. So that tells us treatment.
Yeah.
But he was seen, like, we saw him, he was walking around, like, there was no, no boot or anything like that. And I suppose if he's not ready to play, then why back him up? Like, why have him back up? Why have him have to take skate? Why have him, like, if it just needs rest, then just get him off the ice, leave him off the ice, let him test it out as much as he's comfortable on his own, and just take a precautious rest-based approach. So we shall see. I'll be down there tomorrow. We'll dig around a little bit, see if we can figure out if he was on the ice at all. What's next, buddy?
A couple things quickly on the goaltending. So Mike Smith, not that Mike Smith, our Mike Smith on the chat, who has rejoined us here. He wanted to know a little bit more specifically your guys' opinion of the goals again. So he says, how many goals do you, Strud, and Brownie think Stu was the primary culprit on? Would you make Stu the primary culprit on any of the 4 goals, guys?
First goal. I think he lost his balance and kind of fell into the net. But that being said, Evan Bouchard was covering a ghost in the slot.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you. I mean, he's swimming around and a little sloppy on the last one. Maybe not ideal. But I would agree with you that that's probably the main one. Zuby, where do you come out on that?
Yeah, that was certainly my least favorite. And the question, the way Mike asked it, and I said to him in my response, I didn't like the first or third goals from Stu, but there were mistakes about, as you guys have covered. There's mistakes all around. So if you're saying he's the primary culprit, I think the first is a good choice. Because even the third, obviously, I don't think it's a goal he liked, but we've covered terrible line change. It's a 2-on-1 in tight. It's a high danger chance. I'm just sure he was in position and couldn't squeeze it. But that to me doesn't necessarily make him the primary culprit. He's the last line of defense.
Yeah, and I'm just taking another look here at Vegas' second one. I mean, it's like he gets frozen. He goes down, right? He goes down and then he gets caught trying to lift the pad to push across and gets beat 5-hole Zuby. Like, it's just a one-on-one play that he lost. But again, he's lost a lot of those one-on-one plays in these playoffs.
Yeah.
A lot of those one-on-one situations, he's been beaten pretty clean. So Yeah, not the main culprit, but yeah, certainly wasn't the savior either. Okay, keep going.
This will be the last thing on the goaltending. Just one thing I wanted to offer again from a personal perspective. Jesse Bitts, this was talking about the notion that the players play a better game in front of Calvin Pickard. He says it's a trust issue. I'll just share this one thing quickly. I've never played at this level, but I have played a ton of hockey games over my life as a goalie. And the reason why I somewhat buy into this idea, because I've seen the way players play even in front of me when I'm playing better or when I'm in a tough one and not playing well and giving up everything, and you see them at times begin to overcompensate because they don't believe you're going to make the save, and they end up making worse plays. I don't know if that translates to the NHL level. I guess it shouldn't, but that's what I've seen personally. So there's part of me that I buy into that a little bit.
Struds?
Yeah, you should always try to make the right play defensively, right? That's the thing, And I'm not gonna lie, I'm wired to be good defensively, so I'm never cheating for offense, or to use Brownie's words, anticipating for offense, right? So I could never change the way I played, and I don't understand how someone would be more casual defensive because of a goalie behind, because you're not sure if they're always going to make that save. Now, emotionally, I can see it. I can see emotionally. I get that. Maybe you love this guy's story, but just the way you play defensively, I have a hard time envisioning that one.
Well, and maybe, for some, I'm seeing the word deflate a lot in this conversation as well. And so maybe it's as much how you react when things don't go well. So if you have a goalie who in your brain is the goalie you prefer, the guy you think you should be going with, and the other guy's in, and a goal goes in that, whatever, maybe it's a 50-50, should have had it, maybe whatever, maybe there's a sense of frustration that clicks in a little bit sooner, as opposed to when the guy you'd prefer would be in there and a goal goes in and you just feel differently about it. So Skinner's been in the net more. There have been more deflating moments because he's in the net more and has been over the last couple of years. And so maybe, I don't know, maybe there's an accumulation of that, right? When you're the guy that's in there a lot, players are maybe quicker to get to that feeling. I just don't, the idea that 0-0 puck drops at center, you're going to play the game any different because of the guy who's in net. I think you need to be better as a pro if that's the case. Now, how you react when bad things happen, yeah, maybe there's something there. Zuby?
Okay. Now, this is funny because this is one of my defensemen from my current team on the stream here, Liam B., who says he's a Leafs fan. He's got a good question. Who's more nervous after Game 3, Leafs fans or Oilers fans?
Well, mine will be biased here. Obviously, I think people suggested it, but I believe it's Leafs fans because they've never been in this situation for, since we landed on the moon. So I think that for them, they're like, I think they are concerned, and they're playing the defending Stanley Cup champions, and they've never haven't paid past this level for a long time. So, and they're at home, Florida, Vegas is on the road.
Yeah, and I think, you could make the argument it's a couple rounds in a row here where the Leafs have let a team off the mat. Mm-hmm. They had a chance to put a stranglehold on this thing. And I know the Oilers did too. But the Leafs kind of spit the bit in the driver's seat last round as well, almost, and let a team up off the mat. So a couple rounds in a row. Honestly, I'm not sure the Leafs are that nervous here. I think the Leafs are confident. They know they can beat this team. It's a series. They gave up a win. I don't think they're shaking in their boots like Oiler fan might hope that they are.
Davin and a couple other people mentioned this as well. Davin says, and what the hell was that Hyman penalty? What did you guys think of his latest or the latest goaltender interference call to go against the Oilers there, Schauger?
Yeah, he kind of got swung around there. I don't know, spatial awareness. Was it accidentally on purpose? Maybe the ref thought it was. I don't know. When you get spun around like that, I think it was a stick on his leg that kind of, cartwheeled him around a little bit there and he bumped into him. Yeah, a little ticky-tacky, but at the same time, the goalie was inside the crease and Hyman made contact there and it was kind of upper body head contact. So I would have been fine if they didn't call it. And I think maybe on review, if they could look at it again, they might have thought, maybe there was a little bit more, maybe he was a little more off balance as a result of the defender there. What do you think, Struds?
I think if that's Connor McDavid, it's not called. I think that Hyman has a reputation of going hard to the net. And so I think you don't have the benefit of the doubt.
All right. Couple more, Zoobs.
Yeah. Okay. Let's be hard on some people who we haven't mentioned yet tonight. No, I'm just kidding. Penner's Pancake says, Frederick, Henrique, Nuge, completely invisible tonight. Let's follow that up. Ro Nelson says, Frederick has 18,000 fans begging for a hit, and he does nothing. What did you think of any of those? Pick or choose any of those guys who have something to say about their game, good or bad. Defend them if you want to, Struds.
Frederick's not skating. He's not skating that well. I think that he was skating better towards the end of the Kings series. He's got to get his feet moving. And I know I was a big guy too. Well, technically still big, but you've got to be getting moving, getting skating, and with an intention to get in on the forecheck as fast as you can. And I just don't think he's skating like he was even 2 games ago.
Yeah. And if they're noticing a decline, and they would actually have numbers on that, they would have those numbers available to them, then definitely no chance he gets elevated, like some dummy had suggested. I think he challenged Roy Waugh at the end of the game there too. Hey.
Oh, did he? To a battle? Okay.
I believe he took the face off against Roy Waugh, and they were sort of standing there somewhat toe to toe. Wouldn't be surprising at all if he challenged him after the whole cross-checking thing. So I don't know that for sure, but I thought I saw that on the monitor when that went in, or when that happened.
Right. Last question, Shogger, and then I got a couple of quick little, some good comments that I wanted to get to from folks. Starting over at 61, this is for you, Shogger. Specifically, he says, at the podium interviews after the game, there's a piece of paper beside each player on the table. What's written on them? What do they got up there, Shogger?
I believe they have stats that are up there. So we get where is it? Where's my stats page? I don't have it here. We get a stats page at the end of the game, and they hand a whole bunch out in the press conference room. And basically, it's just one sheet of paper that's got the game summary on one side and then like ice times and miscellaneous stats and all that on the other. And quite often, coaches, when they come in, will sit down and they'll grab that stats page and they'll take a quick look before their interviews. So I believe it's stats pages for the players.
Okay, couple of comments here. Janice Mackey, she's always awesome. She came in early and said, all of you are the best. Absolutely love the streams. I always replay them after every game. So we appreciate it.
Nice. Thank you.
She's awesome. And then this is just, I think, an important note to end on. Kevin Bintoro reminding us it's Mother's Day in Sydney, Australia. When he sent this, it's now Mother's Day where most of you are. And this loss has ruined Mother's Day for my wife. Not that she cares about the Oilers, but now I'm in an awful mood. Remember that it's Mother's Day. Take care of your moms here today. And don't let this loss ruin your day enough to ruin their day. Please.
Completely agree. Here, and well said. My mom doesn't stay up till 1 a.m. on YouTube live streams. So I know that, Donna will be listening to this on actual Mother's Day. So if I've forgotten to call you or text you, Mom, happy Mother's Day, and a happy Mother's Day to my mother-in-law, Carol, as well. But happy Mother's Day it is. It's after midnight, so we can say it now, Struddy.
Right. Yeah, and to all our listeners down under, happy Mother's Day down under. Throw the shrimps on that barbie, yo dogs.
Don't.
Yo dogs, that's a new ad to the Aussie accent. Getting yo dogs in
it's
there.
Offensive. You're offending an entire nation of peoples.
I sound like I live there.
All right. Zuby, I'm sure your mom's on the live stream right now with us.
Yeah, I was going to say my mom probably does stay up until 1 a.m. watching, and I appreciate her for that, among other things. Love you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
All right. Let's get to our play of the day, brought to you by Gallery Dental, offering a full range of services designed to keep your smile healthy. Their experienced team providing personalized care with the latest technology to make sure you get the best treatment possible. Contact them at gallerydentalYEG.com. Struds, what do you got on tap tonight for play of the day?
I've got a soft spot for a goalie named Frank Anderson. For me, I don't know what it is. He had a shutout tonight. I always feel like I want him to do well. And maybe it's because he's on the IR more often than Ryan Rishaug's gout flares up. But I really do appreciate with him what he's done. So shutout tonight, good for him. At home, signed a new contract extension a little while ago, but still, congrats.
Alex Kanye says, awful. I'm going to assume he was talking about Struddy's Aussie impersonation.
I don't know.
Dallas Scarlett asking if we can add that to the Struddy's World intro.
I do have the shot of Struddy with the koala, of course, in the Struddy's World intro. That's the giving a little love to that.
You got to check that out. Michael East Coast says, this is a knife. From a little Crocodile Dundee throwback there. Right. Buddy Hope says they don't even say shrimp on the Barbie in Australia, Struds. Where are you coming up with that? Why are you saying that?
I've heard them say it. I've never actually been down under, but that's what makes this accent so incredible. Right?
Okay.
Just
kill his mic. We're done. Sorry about that, everybody. We did not mean to offend. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on the live stream, or if you've downloaded us in podcast form, we really appreciate it. Hop over to iTunes if you get a chance and leave us a review. We would love to hear what you think, and look forward to chatting with you after Game 4, set to go on Monday night. This has been Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta. See you, everybody.